Greetings, New York Knicks fans. It is your two favorite Knicks talker-abouters on the radio guys. It is Jake's Hot Takes, another exciting day, another exciting Thursday episode. I'm your host, as always, Jake McVey, and joined here with my lovely co-host, Matthew Galgano. And now that the mics are adjusted, we're getting right into it. Matt, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling fantastic, feeling good about these upcoming two games for the Knicks. So we'll get to talking about that.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing, but honestly, with the recent streak that this team has been on, nothing is off the table. I feel confident, but I don't feel like, oh yeah, we got it. You know,
Yeah.
The same way that I was even that confident in the Charlotte game, and then look at how that went and popped me in the mouth. But we're not talking about Charlotte. We're talking about the Knicks game against the Wizards a couple nights ago.
Yep.
Final score of 122 to 103. Really, really awful performance from the Wizards this time around.
Yeah, I would say more of a bad performance from them than it was a great performance from the Knicks. But I can't complain too much. Some key guys really stepped up in this one.
They're the Wizards, you know, and I hate saying that because I feel like it does devalue the potential that a team can have, but they're the Wizards. They're terrible. This is a game where if we lost this one, like, I don't even know what I would do with myself.
Yeah,
I guess
that
I
would
just
be bad.
Probably do what I do anyway, and that's just wait for Brunson to get back. But still, just this is one that you had to win, and the Knicks got the job done in convincing fashion. Well, almost convincing fashion. We had a 30-point lead at one point, and we actually almost managed to blow it. So that was definitely something that I loved seeing. That makes me so confident as a Knicks fan is watching us almost blow a 30-point lead. But also, it's even better
seeing them come back from almost blowing it. So
yeah,
that's also a good thing.
Yeah, I guess it's just better that they stuck it out instead of, you know, going and lose. I guess I'd be a lot more upset if they lost. So we got that going for us. Top performers from the Knicks during this game. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns. Insane night. He got that double-double. 10 for 20 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. Not a great three-point shooting night, but he ended the night with 31 points and 11 rebounds. How can you complain about that? I mean, dang. Yep. Mikal Bridges also had a phenomenal night, 27 points, also 10 from 20 from the field, but 50% from 3, 4 of 8. It's what you love to see. Less impressive stat line in total, I would say, than Cat, but still definitely contributed. OG did his thing. Not very big.
Best games in a minute for OG.
Yeah. Not a very big rebound night out of him, which, you know, sometimes he usually gets up into that 6 or 7 range. Didn't quite fall that way tonight, but he still had a good night. 23 points, 8 for 12 from the field, and 4 for 5 from 3. All in all, I would say the team looked a lot more in tandem. You know, we seemed to be able to cooperate a little more. Cameron Payne had a beautiful night with 7 assists and 13 points. Terrible shooting night, granted. 4 for 12 from the field, 3 from 8 from behind the arc, but you know, as long as he is filling some kind of role on the offense, I'm just fine with that. We have enough guys that can shoot three-pointers. I like to see him getting more assists, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I like that too. I also like to see McCall step up in this way. I really think until Brunson comes back, they should have him putting up 20-plus shots a night is really how it should be because he is one of the better offensive engines that the Knicks do have outside of Cat and Brunson, obviously. And it was nice to see him score a lot of points tonight and get it done for the Knicks.
Yeah, we got some notable performances from the bench here. Tyler Kolek finally getting some minutes, 8 assists. That is exactly what I like to see out of Tyler Kolek. He was a big assist. He is currently a big assist guy, and that was one of the main pieces that I was really worried about with the Brunson injury was that, who is going to be facilitating the offense? But Tyler Kolek ends the night with 4 points and 8 assists, so I'm not complaining. I'm happy to see Kolek has finally arrived. I've been waiting for him to get on the court for so long, and he's finally out there, and I'm happy with what I saw.
Yep.
Landry Shamet, not so much. 3 points on 1 of 4 shooting, all 3-point shots. Just really bad. And 15 minutes nonetheless. Those are minutes that, you know, we could have been using on other guys, but it's okay. Shamet's not, you know. We're going to talk about Shamet a little later because I actually think that his issues recently are indicative of a much larger problem. Mitchell Robinson did his thing, small minutes, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 17 minutes. Just another mid-performance, but, he didn't need to do a lot this time around, so it's all right. It's all good.
Another inefficient night from Josh Hart is something I really want to highlight, though. He went 4 for 10 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3. He had 12 rebounds, which led the team, but just inefficient scoring. For the volume of shots he's getting, I mean, he made 4 of his 13 shots this night. It's not really that great.
Yeah, that's kind of my problem with Josh Hart right now also, is that he just isn't – it's not that he's not shooting – it's not just that he's not shooting well. It's that he's taking up a decent volume of shots too.
Yeah.
I trust Towns or Bridges or, before he got hurt, Deuce or pretty much anyone to take those shots more than Josh Hart. So why is Josh Hart getting 10 looks a night? He shouldn't be getting 10 looks a night.
Yeah, I'd like to see them. He can still get some looks, but I don't think they should really put him on threes anymore. He hasn't been too great at them recently. I guess the Hornets, he went 3 for 3, but then you go back to the game against the Spurs, he was 0 for 3, and then on against the Wizards, again, he was 0 for 3. So he's very spotty with threes. I just wouldn't put him on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would sit him down and have that conversation to look to him to fill more of a facilitator role, especially with Brunson out. Yeah. And it's not like Josh Hart is a bad passer, and clearly he's a great rebounder. He led the team against Washington. But it's just the shooting aspect of it. He's looked really bad recently, and I would much prefer his role in the offense shifts from, I keep on saying it. We got enough high-volume guys. We got enough Mikal Bridges and, previously Deuce McBrides and Karl Anthony Townses. We don't need another guy that can go out there and put up 20 shots a night and 27 points a night. We just need a guy that can get some of the dirty work done. And I think Josh Hart fits that role perfectly, but it feels like he doesn't really quite grasp that yet.
It really seems like the extended minutes from the bench in this game almost cost the lead is really what it was.
It did.
These bench guys are playing more than they're used to playing. Even with some of them playing well. Mitchell Robinson, he didn't play too well. But Tyler Kolek, as a rookie, having 8 assists, that's pretty good for a rookie. So that's pretty promising to see, and I like to see him continue that production throughout the rest of the time without Brunson and the rest of the season. It's just a promising thing to see. But really, it's really kind of hard to view this Knicks team without Brunson, and it's just kind of they're 3-7 over their last 10 games, and right now it just seems like the Knicks are just sitting on their hands and waiting for Brunson to come back.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
It's just a lack of identity, really. Brunson embodied so much of not just the team offensively. He encompassed so much of the team's spirit. I would even say he encompassed so much of the spirit of New York. Just a guy getting out there, putting the ball to the floor and hustling, playing his best basketball as hard as he can, trying to bring his teammates up. He always embodied that Tom Thibodeau and that hard work, that hustle spirit. And not having him out on the court, it stinks. But at the very least, Karl Anthony Towns has picked up the slack. After the win against the Wizards, he said that he was not happy about where the state of the team was and that they have a lot left to do. So I'm glad that we're not just, putting our hands behind our head and taking a nap after a win that we were supposed to get. Towns isn't happy. It seems like the rest of the team isn't happy with their performance. So I'm hoping that they can channel this into something greater, especially against our next upcoming game, which is going to be up against Milwaukee. That is going to be a bit of a bloodbath. Let's get right into that.
One of the biggest challenges they've seen in a minute. What's concerning is that we've seen the Knicks lose to bad teams recently, that being the Spurs and the Hornets. And it's not like the Bucks are the pinnacle of the NBA.
No, definitely
But they're
not.
Definitely, I would say, on the same level or even a bit better than the Knicks right now, even though they're both 4-6 over their last 10 games.
Yeah, I think the Knicks have a more consistent pool of starters, at least while Brunson is healthy. Mm-hmm. But I think just the peak of Giannis is a little more than any single guy on our team can handle. So obviously, offensively, Giannis is going to be a huge problem because as much as I love Karl Anthony Towns, he is still not a defender. He's not going to go out there and put his body on the line in between Giannis and the rim. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of guys on the team that are really willing to do that or even physically capable of doing that. I think it's going to have to be a huge defensive night out of OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson. Don't be surprised if we see Mitchell Robinson getting 20-plus points. He's really the only guy that I think can physically compete with Giannis as he drives to the rim and does that. But OG Anunoby, I say, because Giannis has been really successful recently in the mid-range. It's kind of almost become his signature. And Mitchell Robinson doesn't have the speed to keep up with Giannis, but OG does. It's weird. OG has the speed and the IQ to guard Giannis, but not the physical attributes. Yeah. Robinson has the physical attributes, but not the speed. And I'm not really sure I trust him to outsmart Giannis in a game time situation. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic that you see. Expect a lot of pass offs. I'm expecting Mitchell Robinson to start and go from there.
Yeah.
So
the Bucks are still going to be without Damian Lillard, so Brook Lopez is going to be the second option, then Kyle Kuzma below that. So the Bucks scoring is going to be limited, but it really just calls into question how good can this Knicks interior defense be? Yeah. They're probably going to have Mitchell Robinson on the court more than they would usually, and that's not that promising because he didn't have a great game against the Wizards. But we'll just have to see how this goes. And
Kuzma is going to be a guy you're going to want to watch out for, too, because the perimeter defense on this team has been spotty at best. And, we're lucky enough that Dame isn't playing because Dame would absolutely abuse this defense from a shooting standpoint. So, Kyle Kuzma is basically just a diet Dame at this point, so without the defense. So we're just going to have to pray that Josh Hart can step up his game, that Cameron Payne can actually do something on the perimeter, that Mikal Bridges can do, what we traded 4 first-round picks for him to do. So, that's just the situation. But what I'm really going to be looking for is the mismatch that is Karl Anthony Towns on Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez cannot guard Karl Anthony Towns. Plain and simple, I'm saying it. I think Towns is going to have a night just because he is such a strange combination of size and speed and shooting ability. I just think that a guy with lead in his feet like Lopez is just not going to be able to keep up with him once he gets to his spot and gets a little post game going and starts driving to the basket. I'm excited for Towns' performance this game because I think he's going to be really great. The Knicks beat the Bucks 140-106 last time we played in January, so I'm hoping that we can carry that momentum and just lay a beating on these guys.
I also hope that Cat's production in this game can draw a lot of attention away from OG Anunoby. He had a pretty great night from 3 against the Wizards, so I'd like to see more shots created for him in the 3. He had a pretty bad game for 3 against the Hornets, but that's more of an outlier in this season. He's still been one of the more efficient 3-point shooters for the Knicks this year, so I would like to see him more involved in the shooting game.
Yeah, OG is going to be an important factor because he's not the type to get a lot of volume on the 3-point look, but if you can get him hot, then he can take that volume later in the game. You can't expect OG to come in and just start shooting threes to save the game towards the end. But if OG has been making threes throughout the game, he's going to take more threes and he's going to make more threes just because he's feeling hot. So that is something that I'm going to love to see out of OG Anunoby. And I think it is going to be a big night. I don't think that there's really anybody on the court that can guard Giannis 100%, the same way that I don't really think that anyone on the court can guard Cat 100%, even though that level of unguardable is kind of in a different way for both of those guys.
Definitely.
It's just going to be a showdown. I expect a high-scoring affair. I'm not really expecting a whole lot of defense aside from probably OG and Mikal Bridges, and probably some perimeter defense out of Josh Hart, hopefully. Yeah. But, this is an opportunity for him to bounce back. There's not going to be a whole lot of pressure on him to perform this game because, realistically, I think the rest of the starting roster kind of got it.
I'd also like to see higher volume of shooting from Mikal Bridges because he had a pretty good game against the Wizards.
Yeah.
So I would say Karl Anthony Towns' production will draw more production from Mikal and OG Anunoby in that same way.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be something to look out for. But when we get back, we are going to be talking some more Knicks, and we're also going to be talking a little national NBA. We're going to be talking some Cavaliers. Make sure you stay tuned for it. Jake's Hot Takes, WGNY 94.5 1220 News talk sports, emphasis on the sports. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Jake's Hot Takes WGNY. And make sure you send us an email with your hot take to jakesHotTakes@wgny.net. So send in your hot takes. We're going to do a fan hot take segment soon. So we'll be right back after the commercial break. Jake's Hot Takes at wgny.net.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutospa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutospa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to RomaDeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're at 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing the stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Hello, basketball fans, and welcome back to Jake's Hot Takes right here on WGNY 94.5 1220. Now, this Knicks team has gone through quite the adversity ever since Jalen Brunson's devastating injury. Not devastating. It was devastating to me a couple weeks ago. And I wanted to ask the simple question to you, Matt. Do you think it's time for this team to hit the panic button? Should we start panicking?
I really think you have to save the panic button for when Brunson comes back, and if the production of the team is really that stunted, if he's looking slow, in turn, if the offense is also looking slow because of it. We don't have much information about how he's progressing through his injury, but we just need him to step in and fill the same role that he did last time.
Yeah, I'm ready to hit the panic button. I think that these losses to San Antonio and Charlotte have really rattled me. Mm-hmm. It really sucks when you go into a game thinking like, oh yeah, we got this one in the bag. You know, I can relax and just watch the Knicks beat up on a bad team, and then having those feelings on back-to-back games and then somehow managing to lose both of those games. I mean, the losses to San Antonio and Charlotte, like, plain and simple, they have been embarrassing. This team has gotten embarrassed.
Very true.
LaMelo Ball embarrassed this team, and it's so frustrating because you can see exactly what the root of the issue is when it comes to, you know, this team with Brunson versus without Brunson. It boggles my mind that our situation can be so night and day with and without Brunson.
Yeah.
Like, the only guy on the team that has gotten better since Brunson's injury has been Mikal Bridges, and I think it's just because now that he is one of, you know, kind of tied with Karl Anthony Towns, but you could make the argument that he is the primary ball handler on the team now, and he's going to be getting the most looks. Of course his productivity is increasing, but now I'm hitting the panic button because it's clear that Bridges might not be, or it's not clear, but I'm starting to think that Bridges just might not be fitting the system. And that's something to be concerned about because we traded our future for him.
Yeah, it's something to be concerned about, definitely, because he hasn't looked amazing this season. But it's also year one, and it's kind of how these things work. He's got a different play style than most of the rest of the people on the Knicks. And I think recently we've seen a bit of an uptick in him in terms of not only his production on the court, but also the volume of shots he's taking, also the volume of shots he's making. What I would really like to see him step in is be that lockdown defender that he once was.
Yeah, definitely. That has been lacking with or without Brunson, is that he's been good on defense, but he hasn't been Mikal Bridges on defense. And it's important because one of the most important defensive roles on the team, you know, the big man, who has, to this point in the season, been Karl Anthony Towns, isn't a defensive liability, but he's close.
Yeah.
He's close to a defensive liability. So the fact that we don't have a great defender at our 5 position or our big man position, and Mikal Bridges still hasn't stepped up defensively, it does make me concerned, especially going towards the end of the season. You know, we're not going to be playing the Spurs and the Charlotte Hornets soon. We're going to be playing real basketball teams.
It's getting down to the end of the schedule for the Knicks, and it's not looking great in terms of the competition they're going to be playing. It's only going to get harder. And it's just, like I said earlier, it seems like the Knicks are just sitting around and on their hands and waiting for Brunson to come back.
Yeah, and this team without Brunson, just has so many issues. And I know we harp on him a lot, but it's so apparent with Josh Hart. Josh Hart is a fit the system kind of guy. He is not a play outside of the system kind of guy. And that's why his production, at least on the scoring side, has completely fallen off ever since Brunson got injured. They're not running real basketball looks anymore. Thibodeau is just letting his guys run around and shoot whenever he gets a look. And that works great for a guy like Karl Anthony Towns or Mikal Bridges, who has that play style of like, let me just go out there and get a bucket. But that's not Josh Hart. He needs to be involved in a system.
Thing is, I think we need to rationalize a bit the type of player that Josh Hart is. He's not an offensive engine. He's a role player. And what his play is he's a good defender and he's a good rebounder. And he's pretty elite at those two things.
Right.
So he's still a great player for his role. But I just don't like the idea of him having a certain volume of the shots that he's taking.
That's the thing, is that he is maintaining the same volume of shots that he had before the Brunson injury. But now that Brunson isn't there to facilitate the offense, he isn't getting as good of looks, and he's missing a lot of those shots. So it's like it's the same archetype. It's not like his archetype has changed at all. It's just the success at which this archetype is directly dependent on the guy facilitating the offense. And when Jalen Brunson isn't there and it's up to, you know, Deuce McBride to facilitate the offense, that's just not going to happen. That's just not like – and there are so many other guys on this team that suffer from that same kind of thing where they really can't play outside of the system, and Jalen Brunson is the system. So when Jalen Brunson isn't there, the success for them isn't there too. I think it's contributed greatly to the lack of success out of our bench recently. I mean, Precious Achiuwa has looked terrible since the Brunson injury. Landry Shamet hasn't looked good. And I would even say Deuce McBride has gone from an above-average player off the bench to just a slightly below average starter, and that's just weakening the bench depth even more.
Yeah. The bench is definitely – I would say the bench has been the biggest issue since the Brunson injury.
Yeah, most definitely.
The biggest thing.
And there are a lot of, factors that go into this final stretch of the season, especially with Brunson out. But I've been very frustrated with a lot of the performances on this team, and they don't feel unified as a team, They don't. I gave a very passionate rant after the Golden State game. There was the whole Draymond Green and Karl Anthony Towns situation, and I was talking about how the Knicks players were being way too friendly with Draymond after the game, and I think that's indicative of the state that the team is in right now. They don't have each other's backs, and that's frustrating to watch because you can't put together a winning basketball culture, a winning basketball team without getting these guys to ride or die for each other. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm sorry. You can go on with what you were going to say.
It's true. They haven't been playing together, and that's exactly what I've been saying is that you can't. But that's also they were playing together prior to the Brunson injury, so it's not time to panic yet. They're still going to make the playoffs. They're still going to have a good playoff position against a lesser seeded team. And by that time, Brunson will be back. And all we can do as Knicks fans is hope that his injury is progressing well and that the team can recover from this skid that they've been on recently.
Yeah, but you look at a team that we know is 100% built to win championships. I'm going to take the Boston Celtics as an example. I would say that Jason Tatum right now is the best player on the Boston Celtics. Without Jason Tatum, if Jason Tatum got hurt for a similar stretch to what Brunson is going through, the Boston Celtics would not be facing these kinds of issues, plain and simple.
Agreed, because they have a great bench.
Yeah, because and not only that, they're part of a competently run culture. And I think that's what the issue with the Knicks is right now. Despite Tom Thibodeau being like a culture hire and, instilling a culture in the team, it doesn't feel like it at all right now. It feels like the players are pissed off, and it feels like the fans are ticked off, and it feels like Thibodeau is standing there with his hands in his pockets instead of trying to make the fixes not only on the court but also in the locker room.
The thing is that the Knicks this season and last season, the Knicks were kind of seen as last year they were overachieving underachievers, and this year it seems like they're underachieving overachievers.
Exactly.
The expectations were much lower last year, and when they made the playoffs and they won a playoff series, it was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But then this year, things are kind of coming to a skid late into the season, so it's becoming a little bit concerning.
Yeah, and I think the possibility that we are a first-round exit this season is getting higher with every game. Even if we win it, even when we win, we don't look like a team that can go to the second round, especially if we get matched up against the Pacers early, which I'm not going to talk about that right now because we got a segment on that right now. We got a segment on that coming later. The three most likely first round opponents for the Knicks and what that means in each situation. But right now, it's just and there's a lack of effort too. You can't deny that there's a lack of effort. It looks like defensively the team has not been all there. And I love that Karl Anthony Towns is going after the game and talking about how frustrated he is with the team and how they need to do better. And I'm glad that at least somebody on the team, and especially a guy that's stepping into a new leadership role like Towns is, I'm glad that he can identify that and he's not just willing to put the shovel down and say jobs. We got the job done.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
At the same time, it's like Towns does not necessarily embody the necessary aspects for this team. It's not like he's been a guy that always tries on defense or even always tries on offense. We've seen him take drives off. We've seen him take possessions off, and we've seen how that can impact the team when Cat is not on his game. And especially with Brunson gone over these next couple weeks, Towns really needs to be on his game.
I really just think that the Knicks could benefit from the Joe Mazzulla mentality. Is really what it is.
Yeah, just be a psychotic lunatic.
Just be psychotic and never be satisfied, never be happy until you win. And even when you win a championship, don't be happy.
Yeah. Job's not finished.
I think they'd really benefit from that type of mentality is what it is.
Yeah, but instead we got a coach whose mentality is, making all of our guys play 40 minutes a game until their bones break. So, Anyway, ending this segment on a bit of a depressing note. But when we get back, we're going to be talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've been in a bit of a tailspin recently, and the tanking Utah Jazz saved them from being the laughing stock of the NBA. Then coming up after that, we got Jameis Winston to the New York Giants. What does it mean, and why is it the best move that the Giants have made in the last 5 years? We will be exploring all of that right here on Jake's Hot Takes, only on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. We love the sports. Emphasis on the sports. Follow us on the Instagram, Jake's Hot Takes WGNY. Send a hot take to our email, jakeshottakees@wgny.net. We'll be right back after these messages.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all-wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutoSpa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutoSpa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to RomaDeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're at 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing the stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Jake's Hot Takes. We're going to jump right into it. What is going on with the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers are in a bit of a skid right now, even though they won their most recent game against the Jazz.
The tanking Jazz.
So
That's a fraud win.
Jazz.
That's a Mickey Mouse win right there.
They've lost some interesting games in pretty interesting ways.
Interesting is
It's
one way
actually
to
their
say it.
first time losing 4 straight since last April.
Yeah.
So this is pretty significant for a team that is a so-big title contender. What do you think it means?
I think it means that, despite what the Cavaliers fans would have us believing, this team is absolutely mortal, and they absolutely have weaknesses that can be exploited.
Yeah.
You go back to that Magic game, and defensively, there was nothing that they could do to stop themselves from fouling Paolo Banchero. He got so many free throws that night. He scored 9 free throws that night. It was just poor defensive effort that manifested as fouling. And not to mention Cleveland had a terrible 3-point shooting night. They shot 25% from 3 and they lost the rebound game. And it was a tight one. And granted, Orlando played a great game.
Yeah.
And I think it was more so an overachieving performance by Orlando than it necessarily was like a collapse on Cleveland's part. But, when you shoot 25% from 3, what do you expect? And then moving on to I'm just going to talk about the 4 games that they had in this streak. The Clippers, I'm willing to write this one off as a fluke. Statistically, nothing really jumps out aside from having another weak 3-point shooting night and getting out-rebounded like crazy.
Yep.
And it's no wonder the Clippers had 4 guys score over 20 points. The Cavaliers lost the rebound game by 20. So, when, you got Kawhi Leonard going off for 33, you got Zubac going off for 28, you got Harden going off for 22, and then you got Bogdanovich coming off the bench, and they all drop over 20 points.
Yep.
No wonder your team lost.
And the Clippers were having positive possessions, and they were taking charge of the ball.
Exactly.
So that I think that is probably the least embarrassing of the losses.
Yeah, I would say that
the Clippers could be a good team. They have talented players.
Yeah, they can put it all together. Now for the Suns game. This one was tough. Because I thought Cleveland had it in the bag for a little while. And then all of a sudden, Evan Mobley with that huge dunk and Keegan Murray with a huge dunk too. All of a sudden, it's like they started getting styled on. The Cavaliers started getting styled on, and the Kings just started walking it back step by step. And that was the main issue that I saw, is that the Cavaliers just couldn't capitalize on opportunities to put the Kings away. And that really came down to the core of it. It's not like statistically another weak 3-point shooting night, but it's not like anything jumped out off the jet statistically.
I think what the Cavs need to learn from these 4 losses is that I don't think they can rely on Max Strus to be a solid defender like they have recently.
No.
I think they need to rely on someone like DeAndre Hunter to get more minutes or take some minutes away from Max Strus because he's just a better defender than Max Strus.
Yeah, but the thing with Max Strus is like it's kind of scary taking him off the court because he can get the team fired up so easily. He's such a great 3-point shooter, and he's so good at the contested 3. And those are the kinds of possessions, a contested 3-point shot, that can give your team a wave that you can ride moving forward. So I kind of understand the willingness to let Strus be a defensive liability out there because he's such an energy guy, He can get the blood flowing and the heart pumping and really get the adrenaline flowing. And that's a valuable role on a team. So I understand why they're hesitant to do that. Going to the Suns game, though, they just let Kevin Durant cook way too hard.
Yeah, Kevin Durant was playing great. The Suns basically took this game and walked away with it, and Cleveland barely stood a chance after the first quarter was tight, and then after that, Cleveland was down by 10 points or 11 points, and the Suns basically just didn't look back. They had a huge night out of KD, another really weak shooting performance out of them again. The shooting 44% from the field and 37% from 3, as opposed to Phoenix, who shot 52 from the field and 45 from 3. You look at it from like a statistical standpoint, and it makes sense.
I mean, terrible efficiency night for Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is the guy that I'm actually going to blame that Suns loss on because he looked atrocious.
He hasn't been great over the last 4 games is the other thing. It feels like he only comes alive in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he's been just kind of average Donovan Mitchell play. And, even a Herculean effort out of DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome and Isaac Okoro still wasn't enough coming off the bench. And then, of course, Evan Mobley and Darius Garland did their thing. But it just was Evan Mobley had a huge night. He was 16 and 12. 16 and 12, double-double. So, obviously it's not like this roster has the personnel for it. It feels like they haven't been gelling recently. But anyway, we're going to pivot real quick and talk about some football because our beloved New York Giants, they have finally made a good decision. Maybe the first good management decision this team has made in a very long time.
I definitely think so.
At least in the free agency department. The Giants have signed the one, the only crab legs, Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Tell me your initial thoughts.
So, honestly, I really don't think that Jameis is going to be the starter for the full year. For the Giants, I still think they're going to take Shedeur Sanders at the 3rd overall pick, and they're going to use Jameis as a bridge quarterback. And I feel like that's the plan, and I feel like that's a good decision because Jameis has a bit of a quality to him as a quarterback. You could say that. And I think he's the perfect bridge guy. He's going to
Wait, what kind of quality?
What kind of quality? He's just a great offensive engine. He's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I really think that someone like that is someone that Shedeur Sanders can learn a lot from in his first year.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to be starting the whole year because eventually the Giants are going to want to see what they have in their quarterback. Assuming they take Shedeur. I think they will take Shedeur. But
I'm calling you on that one because I don't necessarily think that the Giants should take Shedeur. I think that this Giants defensive back core has been so weak for so long. Go and draft Travis Hunter. He's a generational talent, and this quarterback class, everyone has been talking about how weak this quarterback class is compared to the quarterback classes of recent. And I'm just thinking, why not get yourself a guaranteed heavy hitter? This guy is easily going to be one of the best defensive backs in the league if you draft him. And defensive backs have been something the Giants have been struggling with for so long now.
Yes, but also the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
You don't think the Browns are drafting a quarterback?
No, I don't think so.
Whoa.
The Browns are so far from competing that I just feel like having both the wide receiver 1 and the cornerback 1 in this draft is going to be more beneficial for them. So I don't even think Travis Hunter is going to be on the board for New York.
Oh, that would break my heart because I really want to see Travis Hunter in that New York Giants blue. It'd be something I'd love to see because he fits the New York style so well, and he fits the role that this team has needed filled for a very long time. I mean, the Giants and defensive backs go together about as well as, like, I don't know, cereal and chicken broth.
Yeah.
It just doesn't go together very well. But no, I saw an interview with Adam Schefter today where he said that there is a possibility that the Giants sign Jameis Winston, sign Russell Wilson, and draft Shedeur Sanders to have 4 quarterbacks on the roster.
Nope.
Oh,
Russell Wilson should not be a Giant.
Gross. I don't want Russell Wilson.
Decision.
I don't want Russell Wilson anywhere near this team. But I think the Jameis signing was honestly phenomenal because it's a perfect way to be able to still get solid draft picks while still keeping the offensive stars on your team happy. Malik Neighbors doesn't care if the team goes 6-11 as long as he gets 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns, like he will. Not to mention, he's going to get, probably 15 tackles as well. That's why drafting Travis Hunter is actually going to be so important because we're going to need him to play wide receiver and defensive back pretty much every play with Jameis throwing the ball.
And that's what's going to happen is that Jameis is the gunslinger of all gunslingers.
I'll say so.
So that's really what he's going to bring to this team. I mean, on Cleveland, while he started in Cleveland, the Browns went 2-5, but he also threw for 2,000 passing yards. He threw for 2,000 passing yards. He threw 13 touchdowns.
2,000. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you say 2,000 passing yards in 4 games?
But he threw 13 touchdowns to 12 interceptions.
Oh,
that's
man.
the issue.
That's Jameis Winston, baby.
That's the guy.
That's Jameis.
That's the guy. A guy the Giants need.
That is phenomenal. That is how you keep Malik Neighbors happy, man. He's going to finish the season with 1,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 15 tackles. Mark my words. I think it's a great signing. Like I said, you need to keep the offensive stars happy. I think they learned their lesson with Saquon. They're never going to let a really great prospect like Malik Neighbors go. And part of keeping the team together is going to be keeping Neighbors happy. And I think Jameis is the perfect guy to fill that role on the team.
As a reference, Deshaun Watson played one more game than Jameis in a Browns uniform this season, and he threw for 1,000 yards.
Oh my goodness!
So that's about Jameis Winston. He's also a locker room guy.
He's a huge locker room guy.
Social
Love
media
him.
hit.
Yeah,
that's what Giants fans should be excited.
In New York, Jameis is going to be the new face of the NFL. With that New York media, they're going to be all over him. They love
basically,
that guy.
if he was like funnier than Daniel Jones, but almost as terrible, but he was just funny. And that's pretty much it.
And you know what? That's exactly what they need. That's exactly what they need.
If he had more confidence and he was Daniel Jones if he had more confidence and he was funny.
I think that's exactly what this team needs right now.
That's pretty much who he is.
When we get back, we're going to be talking a little bit more Knicks before we send you away for the day. We're talking about the best and worst case matchups and a briefcase matchup for the first round of the playoffs. Make sure you stick around for it. Jake's Hot Takes, WGNY, 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. We will be right back.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all-wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to WaynesWayCabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutospa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutospa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to RomaDeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're at 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing the stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Welcome back, Knicks fans. Before we get into the final segment of the day, the best and worst case scenarios for our first round opponents, I just want to remind you, make sure you follow the Instagram at Jake's Hot Takes WGNY, and make sure you send us an email for your take to appear on the show at jakesHotTakes@WGNY.net. So make sure you do that, and without further ado, Matt, the playoffs are coming up soon.
Yep, it's almost here.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting, but at the same time, I'm very nervous for this first round.
Yeah, I mean, most likely it's looking like the Knicks are going to be the 3 seed or the 4 seed. I don't think they'll drop all the way down to the 5 seed.
No, I don't see that as a possibility.
I think they're either going to face the Bucks or the Pistons in the playoffs. That's what it looks to be. What do you think about those matchups? Because I guess it still is possible to face the Pacers, the Bucks, the Pistons. What do you think is the outlook for those? Yeah,
I think obviously eliminating the Pacers immediately as the worst case scenario.
I agree.
I think that will probably be a season ender if the Pacers manage to fall and have to play the Knicks in the first round. I mean, the Pacers just feel like – the Pacers don't feel like an incredibly well put together team, but they do feel like they are a team that is incredibly competent at defeating the Knicks.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that.
They got the best of us last season in a heartbreaking series of events, and it just is it comes down to the perimeter shooting. It comes down to the perimeter shooting, and it comes down to Tyrese Halliburton, because we are terrible at defending the perimeter, and the Pacers are great at shooting from the perimeter. And Tyrese Halliburton, of course, his ability to facilitate an offense, his ability to drive and pass, and let's be honest, the Knicks are not great at occupying passing lanes. Josh Hart is actually pretty good. I would say that's an underrated part of his defense, is that he is really good at occupying passing lanes, but the rest of the team, they're not particularly great at it. And if we just let the Pacers, shoot threes as much as possible, like they're going to be aiming to do, it's going to be a quick series. We're going to be getting packed up and getting our lunch money stolen.
I 100% agree with that. And the Pacers are also very hot recently. They've won 4 straight. And they've been very hot recently. They have Tyrese Halliburton, one of the best point guards in the NBA. They have Miles Turner, one of the best centers in the NBA. They're a talented team, and they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year against the Celtics. Granted, they got swept.
Yeah,
but still, they beat the Knicks. They beat the Knicks practice squad in that Game 7. But I still contend that they would be the worst possible scenario. I think the best possible scenario, I don't think there's a huge difference between whether it's been more beneficial to face the Bucks or the Pistons. But I think it's going to be the Pistons for me. While Cade Cunningham is playing out of his mind right now, and he's having a great breakout year, I just really doubt this Pistons team experience in the playoffs, as most of their players haven't even made the playoffs in recent memory. The Bucks, and they have Dame, they have Giannis, who both have so much playoff experience. Giannis, of course, has a ring, and those are 2 players. I just feel like this Knicks team, that it's just, for most of this Knicks team, it's their first year together. I don't think I would want to face up against Giannis or Dame in a 7-game series.
Yeah, you never want to see freak time when you're still trying to put your team together. That is just going to I won't say that 100%. I'm definitely more keen on facing Cade Cunningham and Tobias Harris as opposed to Damian Lillard and Giannis. Freak time is just a deadly duo, but I completely agree with you when it comes to the Pistons. This team just doesn't have the playoff experience. I mean, it'll be their first time playing in a playoff environment and with a playoff intensity. For the first time, a lot of these guys for the first time in their career in any meaningful way. So that definitely gives us the advantage. But I think that there are a few pieces that the Pistons have that will prove to be problematic. One of those being the aforementioned Tobias Harris. He's kind of a bad matchup against us just because of his physicality, his ability to drive to the basket and go for rebounds and things like that. If you're playing the power forward game, Karl Anthony Towns does not have that kind of physicality except for maybe when he's driving to the basket. So that's definitely a matchup that you're going to want to keep an eye on if the Pistons do end up being our first round opponent. I think that a combination of their lack of playoff experience and the coalescence. Hopefully this Knicks team will just explode with offensive potential once Jalen Brunson gets back. We saw what his absence does to the team, and hopefully Thibodeau will make the adjustments to, maximize the team's strengths with Brunson back. Yeah. But, that's just going to come down to whether or not that's just a coaching issue. And
I mean, you know what they say? They say that 2025 Tobias Harris is better than 2025 Paul George.
It is true. It is true.
And the craziest part is it's true.
But you know what? I think there are actually a lot of guys in the NBA that you wouldn't expect to be better than 2025 Paul George. Yeah. For one of them being Dennis Schroeder, who is also playing for the Pistons right now. Be honest, would you rather have 2025 Paul George or 2025 Dennis Schroeder?
I think Dennis Schroeder is a trade asset.
Yeah, he is.
I mean he's clearly been traded like 3 times this year.
I think he got traded like 4. Yeah, Dennis Schroeder. Anyway, side tangent aside, I do want to talk a little bit more in depth about the Bucks matchup in the playoffs because we talked a little bit about it. I think that this game coming up will be huge in how I feel about facing the Bucks in the first round because I think ultimately it's probably going to be the Pistons that we face, but the Bucks are still definitely in the mix and a lot can happen. I think if it does get to the point though where we do end up facing the Bucks, if the Bucks manage to fall enough to the point where we have to face them in the first round, I would feel very confident going into that matchup because clearly that Bucks team is shaken up by something happening.
Yeah, I mean the Bucks and the Pistons are 1 loss apart, so I feel like if the Knicks beat them, then that will put them in the 6th seed position. Considering the Pistons keep winning, I just think it's the most imperative for the Knicks right now to not let up this 3 spot to the Pacers.
No, definitely
because they're
not.
hot right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and the Knicks are 4-6 in their last games with some pretty bad losses. Yeah. So it is the most important that the Knicks keep winning and hold on to this 3 spot. Yeah, because it can shake up everything if they fall down to 4.
Absolutely. And I was feeling so confident about our playoff position before the San Antonio game. Yeah. It feels like my perspective on this team has shifted so much ever since that San Antonio game. Yep. I was feeling so confident. Oh, we got the 3 seed locked up. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. And then all of a sudden, boom, that San Antonio loss hits. And then boom, that Charlotte loss hits. And then boom, we look really bad against the Wizards. And now I'm like, oh man, we need to keep this 3 seed because if we don't, we are gonna get mollywopped by whatever comes next. Yep. It's just but when it comes to the Bucks, I think that we already set the precedent that we can beat them, and we can beat them in devastating fashion. Like I said earlier, we beat them 140-6 last time we played them in January. And there are just so many positive matchups. Like I said, Karl Anthony Towns on Brook Lopez. Mm-hmm. I don't think that Dame can necessarily guard Mikal Bridges or Jalen Brunson, as good of a defender as Dame has been this season.
But also, can our perimeter defense guard Dame for 7 games?
They can't. No, they can't. But I mean, we have more high volume scorers than they do. Yeah. So if it comes down to who's getting the ball more, we're just going to need to rely on guys like OG and Mitchell Robinson and Cat and Josh Hart to get the rebounds and minimize second chance opportunities for this Bucks team. But I have the confidence that we can outscore them. I have confidence that we can push the pace harder and faster and further than them. So,
yeah,
it's just what it comes down to, really.
Do you think Thibodeau is a better coach than Doc Rivers?
Let's have a debate now. No, he's not. No, Thibodeau is a better coach than Doc Rivers.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, of course.
Doc Rivers has a ring, though.
Okay. Doc Rivers got a ring with one of the most stacked lineups we've seen in a minute. No one gets more mileage out of a ring than Doc Rivers did with his one ring.
Yeah.
It's the most overrated ring of all time. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode of Jake's Hot Takes. I'll leave you off with that hot take, is that the 2008 Celtics ring is the most overrated ring of all time. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you follow us on the Instagram, Jake's Hot Takes WGNY, and make sure you send in an email to jakesHotTakes@wgny.net. And we will be doing a fan take segment soon, so make sure you send it in. Thank you for listening. Our next episode will be on Sunday, same time, same place. Jake's Hot Takes, 94.5, 1220 WGNY. News, talk, sports, emphasis on the sports. Thank you for listening. We love you. Have a great day, everyone.